Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
And listeners, welcome back to the Farm for Profit Podcast. You got Tanner, Corey, and Dave all hanging out on this profit show today. Welcome to the studio, guys.
Good to be here.
Is that I just welcomed you to your own building, Dave?
Yeah, it is good to
How
be
does
here.
it feel to be in your own building, Dave?
How's it good to be back from vacation? It's fun to have all three of us together. It's a lot of fun to have sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Pattern Ag. Predicting pest and pathogen risks in your field. Don't gamble with your yields. Go to www.pattern.ag today. This is going to be a fun conversation, Corey. Have you ever sold meat direct to consumer?
Yeah, when I was in 4-H and FFA. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any of your cattle that you send out for halves or quarters that go on?
Almost all of it.
Okay.
Almost all of it is how my wife's family does it now. They used to not, but they do now.
I'm excited to get into this conversation because it might not be what I'm expecting, but it should be a really good story to share with our listeners. But listeners, we appreciate you introducing us to guests like the one we have today. Don't forget to send us your reviews, to send us your topics. You can send farmforprofitllc@gmail.com. You can send us voicemails and text messages. But ultimately, leaving us reviews on YouTube and Apple Podcasts go a long way.
That number is 515-207-9640.
That's right. So look at you rattled that off.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Absolutely. No, this is great. We thank you for sharing us with your friends and family and even those that you don't like. So thank you for doing that. But it's probably about time we jump into the conversation for today.
And even those you don't like, send this to everyone you don't like.
Yeah.
We can get more downloads. Go for it.
Yeah, if you find us annoying and you don't like someone, just send it to them.
Send it to them.
I'll tell you what's annoying is the guy over there in the hardware parking lot that's jogging from the mulch to the propane tank, the mulch to the propane tank. I'm like, you need something more to do. But let's get into this. We have Jared Ocken, who is here with us, fourth-generation farmer in southeast Iowa. There's never doubt in his mind that the ChopLocal founder would continue to return back to the farm after completing his education. So he's CEO of that business. Alongside his father, his sister, his brother-in-law, they raise turkeys and row crops in southeast Iowa. And what we want to know the most about is what ChopLocal is. Welcome to the podcast, Jared.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So let's get a little bit more about Jared first, and then we'll jump into ChopLocal.
Yeah, so this will lead up well to why I started ChopLocal, because the background of my history, it goes deep into helping farmers and working together with farmers to solve a mission. And it really starts back with my dad when he started raising turkeys here on our home farm, which is where I'm sitting today. Back in, I'd say 95, 96, they were faced with a turkey processor in West Liberty, Iowa that was going to close its doors, which would have put, about 40 turkey growers in the state of Iowa out of business when that closure would happen. And so in their eyes, that they had to do something to control their destiny. If they want to continue raising turkeys commercially like they did, they had to do something, and they decided to band together, about 40 growers in the state of Iowa, and purchase that processing plant. And that really allowed them to control their destiny into the future, and allowed not only their generation to prosper, but my generation as well, which I'm second generation. I mean, we raised turkeys prior to that, my dad's generation as well, but they had multiple processors to sell to. This one really closing would have closed down a large market in Iowa. So, that allowed my dad to continue farming, building his row crop operation while raising turkeys. I went on to Iowa State and majored in ag business. Graduated from Iowa State in 2011. And like you said in my intro, I knew I wanted to go home to farm the whole time I was at Iowa State. It was just kind of a matter of time and an opportunity to get there. And luckily at that time, there was an opportunity to add some more turkeys into the plant, and I was able to build some new barns and get started farming alongside my dad. Since then, I've taken over his operation and continued to expand our row crop operation. We also own a feed mill with a few turkey growers here in southeast Iowa, and I am the president of that as well. And so from there, I do some angel investing. And really that's came about from ChopLocal and learning the startup culture and working with Egg Startup Engine and up in Ames. So yeah, from there in 2020, I started in on venture of ChopLocal.
Wow. He's got a little bit going on.
So you went back to school. You were 2011 that you graduated, but then you went back to the entrepreneurial startup engine. You said 2020?
Yeah, but it's just a fund. You know, I didn't. We just received funding from them from ChopLocal, and that really got me introduced to the startup world, and that's really how I got interest in angel investing and different startups and helping other small companies get started as well in the egg industry.
So you went there to get money for ChopLocal, and you left giving a bunch of people money.
Not a bunch of people. I was always involved in the entrepreneurship program at Iowa State when I was there. It was kind of up and coming when I was there, and Kevin Kimley, I think, came on like my junior year, maybe my sophomore year, and he really got the program in the ag college at least going. And I've always been a big entrepreneur, even when I'm sitting here farming. I'm always thinking of new businesses, new ideas, and a better way to farm. And so, but once I really learned about kind of how the ecosystem was working, it got me really excited, and I started to see a lot of different deal flow from being involved in their fund, and it really got me interested in how can I help some of these financially. But yeah, you're exactly right. I went up to get funds from them, and so forth. I've invested in a few companies because of that.
So is that the entrepreneurship? That's what made you make turkey chops? I'm guessing you're in the turkey business, and we got ChopLocal. Is that what it is? Is it turkey chops like pork chops, or what? Tell me what ChopLocal is.
We do have not a lot of people know this. If you go to the Iowa State Fair, there's marinated turkey tenderloins that you can get at the Turkey Federation booth at the Iowa State Fair. And not too many people know how good they are, but you can buy those through me. So I do have an online store. It's some of our products that's processed through Westlery Foods that you can get on ChopLocal. One of them is the marinated turkey tenderloins, which we are out of the small packages right now. So I don't want a bunch of people thinking that they need to buy the 10-pound package that's on there. In about a month, we'll have the smaller packages. But yeah, the marinated turkey tenderloins, easy to grill. We've got brine turkey breast roasts on the website as well through the Farmer's Turkey is that's my vendor on ChopLocal. The brine turkey breasts are good too. I just had a guy call me this morning, and he's like, "Man, those are really hard to screw up." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the best thing about them. They're brined. You can literally bake them, cook them any way you want, and you will not dry them out. So they are really easy to cook."
My mouth is watering. Tanner didn't let me get lunch.
Tanner has no control over your lunch. Nice.
So what? Go deeper. ChopLocal. It's a conglomerate then.
ChopLocal. The way we like to look at it is a online farmers market focused on meat. We are a platform that allows the butcher shops and farmers to connect with the consumer. It's an e-commerce play though as well. So you'll get on to ChopLocal. Let me back up. To me, the way we used to introduce it, some people will take to this, some people we found out don't, but we called it the Etsy of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you think, the Etsy artesian marketplace, we looked at it the same way. You're buying directly from that farmer, directly from that butcher shop, and getting the story and getting the connection. You can communicate back and forth through our platform. So, ChopLocal is that marketplace that allows you to get on if you're a consumer and find local meat close to you, whether it be beef, pork, chicken, lamb. We have some seafood, and it allows you to buy directly from them. Literally when you hit that purchase button, your money is going directly into their bank account instead of going to multiple different people's bank accounts before it finally gets to the farmer. And that's really why we started ChopLocal, is to bring that food dollar and bring majority of it, or more of it, not majority of it, but more of it back to that farmer and small butcher shop.
Corey's over here. We're not going to even
I had the
finish
Farm for Profit card out. Will this be to my place before supper? If I order right now, can we do that?
Not quite. Well, so let's see. You guys are in Huxley, so if you order for pickup at West 40 in Ankeny, that's one of our butcher shops or food meat markets close to us. If you order for pickup, yeah, you can pick it up on your way home.
So if I'm a cattle producer and I sell my own beef, and I put my stuff on ChopLocal just like you are, turkey guy. If I put beef on there, you talked about a certain location I have to pick it up.
Still has to be USDA inspected, right?
So there's a question for you. USDA inspected?
Yep.
So it's going to go through all the packing or not packing houses, but butcher houses locally. Like I'm over to Arcadia, where our butcher house is. There's one in Story City. There's one in Ankeny. Are you really counting on them to do it, or are we shipping this out like Amazon Prime?
There's multiple different options. When we first started out, it was if you came onto our platform, you had to ship. I shouldn't say that. There was a point in time that we told vendors that they had to ship to be on our platform. We wanted it to be so that anybody could get on and get products at any time. We've since changed that. So now we have some butcher shops or some farmers that just want to do pickup.
Okay.
Well, we have our website structured very similar to like a Walmart pickup. Like you order online, the order goes through, you get a notification when your order is ready for pickup. So like I just used West 40 as an example, and they're just one of them. But you can get on like right now and place that order, and they will tell you, they will send you a notification when it's ready for pickup. Now, on the other hand, we do have vendors. I would say majority of our vendors will also ship. So when you make that purchase, they're not shipping every day. They're going to ship at the beginning of the week because that's most cost effective. They can make sure that box is not going to sit in a warehouse or UPS or FedEx's warehouse over the weekend. So, if you would order today, it's Tuesday, you might get some that if they're close to you, will ship out tomorrow to you and you'll have it by the weekend. But most cases, they'll wait a week and it'll be Monday or Tuesday of next week that they'll ship out to make sure that they get it to you. But yes, long story short, yes, we do both pickup and shipping. You select that at checkout, what you're looking for.
I'm wondering if I can get an Uber Eats person to go pick some up for me now.
So I was just thinking that. So we just interviewed Clayton Farms. Is there what are the odds? Can I get on a subscription base to where Jared sends me turkey every week and every Monday you send me so much?
Yes. Yep. We just introduced subscriptions to our platform here last month. Not all vendors have signed up for it. Some of our vendors are going to start curating a box that they feel confident sending out, weekly, monthly, whatever your subscription length you choose. That's really up to our vendors. So, if you find a vendor that's offering that subscription box, absolutely, you can sign up and have it shipped to you on, whatever duration you want.
So what's it take to be a vendor on here?
What it takes is, if you're a vendor looking to sign up on our platform, we encourage you to go to sell.choplocal.com. That's kind of that is our portal for you to access not only how do you sell on ChopLocal, but we put out a lot of different resources for people selling direct consumer, like how to pack your boxes, how to do marketing. We do a lot of webinars throughout the year, and this is a great resource. Even if you're deciding not to come on ChopLocal today, it's a great place to go to find resources because we're out there producing them anyway. So that's the first place to go if you want to find out. And if you forget anything that I say, here on this podcast, you can go, check that out and find out how to get more information. But basically the guidelines for us is, you have to have meat that's legal to sell. So you can't, we will list quarters, halves, and wholes, which basically means that, that consumer is going to buy the animal and pick the processor. We arrange that too, but majority of our sales are those individual cuts. So you either need to be using a state inspected locker or you are a state inspected locker. We do restrict traffic flow based on your geographic location. So if you are just state inspected, we only bring people to you that are in the state of Iowa. You're not going to get an order from California or whatever. But the best thing is to be USDA inspected, which means your meat can go anywhere in the U.S. It can go across state lines. All that's up to you. Basically from there, we can step you through the rest of everything else you need. We're just looking for somebody that is a high quality vendor. They're going to be doing a very good job of customer service. They have quality meat. They're raising quality animals, and they're taking care of their animals. We don't say you have to be organic or anything like that. You can list those and do that marketing, but we definitely don't allow any disparaging marketing claims against each other. We don't care if you come on and say you're organic or ABF, but you can't say that conventional is bad on our platform.
So I don't see anybody with venison, Corey. Me and you, we could be hunting sons of bucks.
You can't sell game in Iowa.
Oh my goodness!
I'm pretty sure. Maybe.
There's duck on there, but
we do have some duck.
Do you know what a whole rabbit costs?
no,
I don't know. But
$35.
I'm looking at this beef bacon.
A whole rabbit. Yeah, this is probably one of the most distracted interviews we've had. But there's a vendor. Jared's got a vendor at Ames that's selling you a whole rabbit for $190.
Dave had one up that was a boneless pig.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
whole
it's the same-
thing's boneless. How do you take all the
vendor.
bones out?
Well, one by one.
So now I got a question. We're farm for profit. Am I going to be more profitable by selling? I assume I will be by selling individual cuts, and then I'm holding it at the locker, and you're buying 10 at a time or 20 at a time, rather than selling that half a beef. I know all kinds of cattle producers that sell a quarter, split side, half a beef, and they do pretty well with it. And they're like, we switched from where we're doing cow calf for genetics to heck, we're steering everything, and we're selling direct to consumer now, but it's all on half a beef or quarter beef, etc. Is this way going to be more profitable?
Pound for pound.
I would say that yes, it can be. Yes, you are going to have more margin. You will make more margin on selling individual cuts. You're going to make that $20 a pound, basically on your ribeyes, your high end cuts. Now on the bottom end, you're not going to make as much on your grind or whatever it might be. But overall, if you look at it and if you can say, yes, I can move just the same amount of steers to market through retail cuts, you will absolutely be more profitable, have more margin, more money in your pocket per pound selling retail cuts. Selling direct to consumer on the quarters, halves, and wholes is still a very profitable endeavor, as you well know that that's still better than going to the packer the majority of the time. And that can still be a very profitable avenue as well. So I don't want to say that discount that. The one thing that we really see from vendors and that we've really found is the ones that are willing to do the marketing and really move their marketing and really get involved in the social media and really telling their story. Those are the ones that are most successful selling retail cuts. You can be very successful at selling, quarters, halves, and wholes and not doing a whole lot of marketing.
Correct.
Basically, it's word of mouth. But if you're going to step up into the, selling those retail cuts, yes, the margin's there, but you're going to have to spend more time marketing your business as well.
So how about, when I'm selling quarters and halves, I know that it's all gone. When my customer picks up, they take everything. If not, it's discarded or ground. How do our listeners that maybe want to participate here, what happens if they end up with, a certain cut that doesn't sell well or, something along those lines? What's that look like on the back end?
That's one thing that we've really tried to develop, and it's taken time because it takes data. And, as you grow a business, you don't have a whole lot of data until you have more vendors on, especially in a marketplace. What we really want to provide to our vendors that are involved is the data of this is what's working. And there are people that are doing it very, very well. They're selling those quarters out, or they're selling the retail cuts very well. And they're making sure they're utilizing everything. Is there going to be some off-fall? Yeah, absolutely. But one thing and let me back up. We do put on a webinar. We have put on a webinar. We give you a discount on that. Will teach you, how to price your cuts on that cut up of beef to make it the most profitable it can be, given the conditions in the market at the time. What we really want to build from our data is, what sells best at what times of the year, so that you can cut that beef up different ways, given what's selling the best. The one thing that I will tell, any vendor coming on is utilize your grind and value add to it. So don't just grind it all into hamburger. You're going to have some really high quality hamburger, because I'm going to guarantee you're going to have to grind your roasts. Like,
Right.
roasts do not sell. You can't take all your roasts and get them sold on individual cuts. You're going to have to grind those. But in doing so, you've got a pretty darn high quality pre-made hamburger patty that maybe has jalapenos in it. It's a cheddar patty. It's a, whatever you want to add to that patty to value add to make it more flavorful and sell different flavors. Same way with beef sticks. Same way with any sort of grind product that you can turn that. One of our vendors is doing beef brats. There's a lot of different unique ways. Selling sticks is an absolute easy way to turn that grind into a highly value added product. And almost, it seems like all the time you're looking for a filler in your cart to get to our $150 or over $50 free shipping. That's an easy add. You add a few sticks in. So
does anybody sell anything other than meat, like swag? Like, you want to be part of my cool club and you can
I saw cinnamon rolls.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we ran into this a lot. We have a lot of vendors that, if they have a storefront or whatever, for whatever reason, they want to sell, whether it be jams, breads, definitely their swag. And we've encouraged that. Absolutely. Like, if your sole business is selling meat, but you've got these, extra products that you're selling, the bread, things that pair well with meat. We haven't allowed alcohol yet, but that pairs well with meat too. But anything that pairs well with meat, absolutely, you can sell it to your storefront on ChopLocal.
I just saw a news article that one of the governor's grants out of COVID helped build a locker back where I grew up in Cherokee, Iowa. That looks like they're doing a lot of cool and fun things. When you said alcohol, it made me think of that. Is they're trying to make it the one-stop shop for your barbecue. Come in, you get your meat, get your bun. It's a private artisan bun. Mm-hmm. Get your one-off locally brewed beer. It was kind of a neat little shop. That's probably somebody you guys should get signed up, unless they're already on your deal. But
I don't think they're on, but yeah, we definitely should get them signed up.
What you're saying?
You can always send people our way.
I could do that. What you're saying though is that Farm for Profit can't just put our swag shop out there on the website.
No, yeah, you've got to start incorporating a meat business into it.
So I heard you say earlier that you hope that each, or the best of your people that are on ChopLocal, the best vendors, they're promoting themselves on TikTok or Facebook, etc., and they have their own following. So if they have their own following that they've already made, you guys give them a platform to sell, and I'm sure there's a fee to that. But does ChopLocal do any advertising for me? I mean, you guys have the data, so you're going to know everybody that likes sirloin steak. And are you going to market, well, hey, they really liked these other company over here, but have you tried Whitaker steaks yet? Because they're really good with lookalike audiences and finding, hey, here's the demographic of people that are buying our stuff. They're all 30-year-old, they all married with kids, etc. And then do you re-advertise? Do I get any marketing bonus or branding bonus from being part of ChopLocal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's very much what we were founded on. While we sit there and say, yeah, you need to do your own marketing, but we're doing it for you. Just our best vendors are out there marketing themselves, plus leveraging our marketing. So, we absolutely are, on social media. We're retargeting social media ads.
Okay.
One of the biggest advantages that we have over an individual vendor trying to do it themselves is SEO. We have strong SEO power. We're bringing people that are already looking for meat in a search engine to our website,
yep.
Which is very hard to do on an individual basis. A marketplace has a lot stronger power because we've just got more flow through our website and makes it more validated. So there's a lot of different ways to go about marketing, and that's one thing where you can leverage our marketing to make yours even better, and vice versa. You guys will help us bring vendors in that, if you're a beef vendor, they get, oh, well, hey, I can go look for a pork vendor because I don't have a pork vendor. And then they find one close to them. It's just really the power of that network effect. But one thing that we do too is provide a lot of resources to our vendors. That's very beneficial. We like to be known as the ones that have the best customer service. There's a million different e-commerce platforms that you can choose out there. But we're focused on farmers and farmers selling direct to consumer. We're farmers ourselves. Everybody that's involved in ChopLocal from an employee standpoint is actively farming or has been involved in farming. So if you're making the call, we know the pain points you're going through and we're going to help you through those. So not only from the marketing side, we really want to leverage that those resources we have that we can provide to the vendor.
So Banker's got a calculator out.
It's fascinating. Like I said, I've not stopped looking at the website. I know our listeners are going to do the same thing while they're listening to this recording.
It's a beautiful website.
Yeah, it's well done, and it is. It's making me really hungry.
I am so hungry.
We're doing our job then.
I'm even trying to. I love gyros, gyros, whatever you say it. And I'm looking at they got gyro patties for lamb. I'm like, oh my god.
Yes. So this is really a different type of an episode for our listeners, right? Because not every one of our listeners has livestock, but every one of our listeners has a stomach, and it's kind of neat to see how we can tie this back into the profitability of each one of our farms. You're supporting local, you're building a community base. It's a really great opportunity to get a fresh product. But as you look through this and the business model that you have, how does ChopLocal make revenue?
Yeah, so our revenue model is based on monthly subscriptions. So when you're a vendor and you sign up for ChopLocal, we give you these resources. We give you an online e-commerce platform, and the breakdowns on sell.choplocal.com of different plans on how much we help you and how many products you can list. But overall, it's just a monthly subscription. We do charge a small commission fee for each sale on the website, but basically that's our business model. Is we charge you per month to be on, and a small commission on each sale.
I was suspecting that was the case, so I appreciate you clarifying that for us. It's kind of neat. We had wanted to have a conversation a little while ago. I'm glad that we finally connected, and like I said, I keep looking at the website. Beef oxtail.
Yeah.
Have you ever cooked
No.
cowtail before?
Nope.
I've had cowtails.
You
I
have?
love the candy cowtail.
Is there Rocky Mountain oysters on here?
That's a good question. I don't think we have any.
Bison.
I don't think so.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
We're adding vendors on a daily basis, so sometimes I can't keep up as well as when we first started.
I think that's going to be our niche. We're going to be able to sell our swag because we're going to start a Rocky Mountain oyster business.
Edit that out. We are going to sell just Rocky Mountain oysters, just the nuts.
Just the nuts.
That's it.
That might be what's really interesting is some of those, like beef oxtail, like you can't find those in local grocery stores.
No.
So we've actually had a lot of traffic on some of those cuts that nobody else, like beef tongue. I mean, it's hard to find unless you have access to a local locker or a small locker where you can pick up some of this stuff.
We had a lady every year that bought a quarter or half beef from my FFA stuff, and I'm pretty sure she did it just so she could get the tongue and some of the other organs and things like that, because that's what she grew up eating, and she knew how to make it.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen that before on our platform as well. It's really interesting.
I like that idea. Nuts.
I think
our
you
nuts
should. Our
in
nuts
your mouth.
It would make a great T-shirt.
That sounds like a great T-shirt.
So have you ever denied people from your website?
Yeah, we have. We've had to not necessarily deny. Most of the time they make it on, and then it's pretty easy for us to tell, as long as we've been in business now, to really start to see things fall apart. Going back to that marketing, we've had to kick one vendor off because they were, making claims that weren't true. And they were making claims against other vendors on our platform that weren't true, obviously. And so we had to kick them off. And then just lack of serving their customers, missed orders, and things like that. We tried to do our best to keep those type of people off. It's pretty easy to tell through the onboarding process anymore of whether they're going to be a good vendor or not. And we've been able to sort them out that way from an onboarding standpoint. But yeah, we've had to kick a few people off for those reasons. Not too many. Most of our vendors have been great.
Is it just me, or can I smell meat cooking right now?
I think that's the hair ladies.
That's burnt meat.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about our Rocky Mountain oyster business, because neither you nor I have cattle.
No, but
And,
we're going to be the middleman.
But how do
We'll
you USDA
bring all the nuts to one place?
How do you USDA inspect?
That's true.
Yeah, this might not be
Well,
as
what
easy
you need
as
to do is work with one of our vendors and buy their nuts.
There you go.
yes.
But still, how would that be inspected? Because then it has to go to a butcher shop, right?
Well, yeah, and they typically
Yeah, but see, a lot of our vendors that are selling their beef is being USDA inspected. So the animal is inspected through slaughter. So then that product is USDA inspected and stamped in packaging. So you guys can buy that product from them.
But the oysters
and
are
store it.
slaughtered well before the animal is slaughtered,
the oysters are young.
right?
Yeah.
How would we do that?
Oh, I don't know. That's why nobody's done it yet. Because what did we learn?
Oh yeah, duh. I wasn't thinking. Yeah.
What did we learn the other day? If it's nearly in
Never mind. I don't know how you
Could
do
we
that.
have a what do they call it when it's kosher or whatever? We have someone come out and make it kosher.
Well, you would have to do it. You'd have to have a USDA inspector standing there while you did it, basically.
That could be expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you though, like people like crawfish boils, like
Sure.
you're not getting crawfish to fill yourself up. Like it's a novelty.
Right.
Right? So this is a novelty.
Yeah. I love this. Okay, let's get back. Let's get focused. Our brains are way too food oriented here, but it's been fun to explore that avenue of things. But I want to go back to the business side of this, right? Because you've got a lot on your plate. You're an angel investor. You're president of a feed mill. You're running a fairly decent sized scale turkey operation, and you've got ChopLocal, right? How did you initially get? We talked about some seed funding, but how did you initially get through the startup phase of ChopLocal? Tell us about that.
I would almost consider we're still in the startup phase. I mean, we definitely we haven't even been 3 years full in business. We'll be our 3-year anniversary will be in November. So we're still very much in the startup phase. We raised some capital early on from Egg Startup Engine in Ames, and then Egg Ventures Alliance out of Mason City. Both of them have supported us very well. I invested some of my own money into ChopLocal to get it started. And then we've really relied on low interest loans and grants. We got a USDA grant that allowed us to bring on a vendor support specialist. Her name's Sydney, and she helps put those resources out there for the vendors, whether they're selling on ChopLocal or not. Yeah, and then we've got some low interest loans through the state. IEDA has been great to us as well. So that's been majority of our funding. And then, just my background is in farming. Some startups operate differently. Some raise a lot of capital. I'm very much figure out a way to get to revenue and start generating revenue, because that's the best way to not have to pay a high premium on capital. So we've been very fortunate at really pushing hard and getting our business model to where we can be profitable pretty quickly. So we definitely did that. Back up to a little bit of our staff at ChopLocal, and Katie came on board. Katie Altoff is my co-founder in ChopLocal, and she came in basically right when it was starting. It was just kind of an idea. I had built a few things out on the platform, but basically we hadn't launched yet. And she came in and helped me launch the business and basically operates the business today for me. So she is the We really don't have titles. I think when we were pitching to investors, we always were like, what titles do we give each other? And she would always want me to have the CEO title. And anyway, I would call her the CEO now of the business, but she does an excellent job. And then we have Mark Putney, who's our business development director of business development, and does a lot of the sales channel and bringing the vendors on to ChopLocal.
Corey, what's your title here?
Chief Fun Officer.
Chief. Hey, I love that. That's good.
CFO.
That might be my title now at ChopLocal, because I just come on and ask a bunch of questions now, and I try to bring fun, I guess.
So I'm curious, what you said you've invested in a couple other businesses. What trips your trigger there? What makes you? What do you like?
Well, when investing in other businesses, I like to invest in things that I know at least something about. I know the industry, the problem they're trying to solve. I like to know what problem they're trying to solve, and it's either affected me or I know where it affects the supply chain that I work in. And so that's number one, what I'm looking for. And then number two, and this is something that I don't feel like a lot of early investors really look at, but it's the team. How well does the team know the problem? How well does that co-founder know the problem, and have they been affected by it? Because that's typically how they get their drive, is they want to solve that problem because it's a problem for them or it's a problem for somebody they know. That's two strategies I have for investing. Obviously, they've early on, it's really hard to look at whether their business model is going to work, but as long as you know what the dollar value of that problem is going to be, you can usually work backwards and say, okay, this is a big enough problem that can be solved, and I think they can effectively do it with the capital they're going to raise.
Very cool.
So as you think about where ChopLocal has come from and where you're headed, what are you excited about coming down the pipe here in the future?
I got to think this one through just a little bit, but we've really started, with the marketplace. And at the end of the day, our goal is to bring an alternative supply chain for farmers and butcher shops. And that's something that's, I would almost say, never been done. A lot of times in agriculture, we're working from top bottom. Like, we have no access to the market. We're price takers. So basically we're trying to solve all the problems in between. And that's usually through cost reduction or basically always through cost reduction. There's never a way you can be a price taker. And, we really want to change that. And so that basically at the end of the day, the farmer and the butcher shop have access to that market. They're not blocked off from the market from a packer or a retailer or whomever it may be. So while we've started with this marketplace, we're working on projects right now internally that don't only just incorporate this ChopLocal marketplace. It's really looking at how do we rebuild that supply chain. And, I can't get into too many details, but there's two different avenues we're looking at that allow us to bring that market to the farmer and to the consumer, so they have control of that market. Or sorry, let me rephrase that we bring that market to the farmer and butcher shop, and that there's nobody in between that can hold them back from that.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus on the consumer side of where my food's coming from, and along those lines. Also, I see so many posts, whether it's conspiracy theory or not, about how expensive food is relative to how much work is being done by AI and robots, and just surprised how the inflation has driven up the cost of food. We're the most wealthy nation with also a lot of people that are very hungry. So it's interesting to see when and where things are going to head for markets just like this. But as you think about the conversation we've had today, what else do you think our listeners would be interested in knowing, or any advice that you'd want to share with them?
Oh boy, I'm not sure.
What was the hardest part about getting started?
There was a lot of hard parts getting started. And it just seemed like, you're just always dealing with problems. And we still do today. It just seems like there's one after another. And over my lifetime, I've tried to, handle every problem that comes at me a little bit better and know that I'm always going to have problems. And, that's just part of the way it is. It's really never easy sailing. But I would say probably the biggest problem that we dealt with, and this might be because I was more not working extremely internally. Katie would probably tell you a different set of problems. But the problems that we really had starting out is, who do we take advice from? We were getting a lot of advice, especially when we were pitching to raise money. Investors would tell us, well, you need to do X, Y, Z, and then we'll invest in you. We talked to other founders that, they're like, well, you need to do X, Y, Z, and then you'll be successful. And at the end of the day, it was really hard at first to sort through who's right and who's wrong. And we probably should have done a better job of just trusting our gut instinct, because we knew our business and we figured this out. And as you go into business, you all of a sudden learn stuff, and then it becomes just what and it's just part of your business. And then you go on and you're just always continually learning new and better ways, or, well, we should have done that. And to look back over 3 years, some of the questions we were asking at the beginning were probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we were asking those questions. They seem pretty dumb today. But when we were needing advice from people, it was just really hard for me to decipher what's right and what's wrong, because, well, I knew this industry from, Westlery Foods, but I'm not, extremely involved in the meat processing side of the cooperative that we're a part of. This was a whole new space for us. Didn't know e-commerce. I didn't know how to ship meat direct to consumer. And so figuring all those things out, and like I said, who do you take advice from was very difficult. So over time, all those wounds are healed, but that was really hard at the beginning, and it took a lot of soul searching of, this is the direction we need to go, and we need to do it.
I like that. That was good. Corey's always got questions at the end of this before I wrap up.
I do.
But I think he's just making a grocery list.
No, well, I am doing that too. There's seafood on here. Who's growing the seafood, or where's that coming from?
Yeah, so it's wild caught seafood. Here again, it's an awesome family operation. Or I think we've got two of them. Ivanoff's is one of them, and I can't think of the other one's name right now. But anyway, both of them great families. And yeah, that's wild caught, processed by them, and shipped direct to your door. So we just brought them on. I think they've been on 2 or 3 months now. Both of them kind of came on at the same time, and they're
pretty cool. We're going to be interviewing
those are the two I know of.
We're going to be interviewing a young crabber from TikTok that has millions of followers here coming up, and he's got his own. He's shipping crabs all across the country too, so we might need to connect.
He's got
you
crabs.
Guys. He does.
Oh, hopefully we won't get it.
Blue crabs.
Nice.
Yep. Oh, my other one, and maybe I missed this in the beginning. I am just on the Iowa part of the website now. Are you beyond Iowa?
Yes. Yep. We've got vendors in, I'm going to take a guess here. I think we're in 16 states now. Wow. Hopefully somebody doesn't go out there and count them, because I might be off by a state or two, but somewhere around 16 states we have vendors in. Doesn't mean we have all meat products. It just means we have vendors in 16 states. So some of those are just lamb vendors, or some are just beef vendors. It doesn't mean we have products in each of the states. We've shipped to, I think last year, I don't have data on 23, but in 2022, we shipped to 35 different states in the U.S. So, we've shipped meat to a lot of different regions.
Awesome. That's great. Well, the last question that each one of our guests gets asked is the same during a certain period of time, so we can capture answers. So if you were to go back and stand next to little Jared at age 18, what would you go back and tell yourself? And you can think about it here for a little bit. We'll give you some stalling time. We were here with the CEO of ChopLocal. What an interesting conversation we had today. a website, a marketplace that's able to connect producers and butcher shops to the consumers. Utilized his business background, degree, education, and entrepreneurial spirit to drive this business forward. And then took advantage of the connections that he had made. Also made some private investments himself into other startup companies. Still considering himself a startup here at ChopLocal. Has a very great partner in Katie and support staff that helps make this happen. But listeners, you need to go out and check this out. But don't do it while you're hungry. It's like going to the grocery store when you're hungry. We're all hungry here sitting here now, and even more. My stomach's growling. What a cool way to look at things from another perspective. But this might be something, too, listeners, that you could mirror off of if you've got other ideas. I'm sure that Jared would be a resource for you there. So before your answer, Jared, remind our listeners how they can find ChopLocal, and then what would you tell yourself at 18?
Yeah, so you can find us if you're a vendor. Go to sell.choplocal.com. If you're thinking about being a vendor or want to get on our platform, that's a great place to start. Or looking for resources on how to sell direct to consumer. If you're a consumer, I actually would challenge you to come hungry, so you want to purchase a lot of products from us. But if you're a consumer, just go to choplocal.com. You can search by cut, you can search by geographical location, and you can find whatever vendor or whatever products that suit your needs.
Awesome. All right, so what would you tell Jared at age 18?
Yeah, this is probably I want to say this is somewhat of a generic, answer, but it truly has been something over. So I've been in business for, basically 12 going on 13 years, and I've had a lot of opportunities come my way. And it's always been really hard for me to decipher what to spend my time on. And over time, I've really learned that you really need to know what drives you on a daily basis, what makes you tick, what do you do in your free time that, just little bits and pieces that's, what you're living for. It's basically you find out, what's your why, what do you want to move forward with in life. And I wish I could go back and tell myself that at 18, because I made a lot of decisions over my time based on things other than that, whether it be money or, whatever it might be. I don't know what else there is, but, don't let outside factors drive you. Really know what makes you tick and follow that and trust your gut. And a lot of times that's what your gut's telling you is basically deep down, it's your why. And I wish I could go back and tell myself at 18, like I said, because there's a lot of decisions that I've made over time based on other decisions. And, I've learned a lot because I've made those decisions and realized that, I got myself in a spot that I didn't want to be and had to back myself out of it. And which has taught me a lot too, moving forward. So, best way to learn is to make mistakes, and that's what you're going to just continually do and not be scared to, make those mistakes.
That's a great answer.
Good.
I like that. I'm going to take the challenge right out of him.
I had a challenge.
You've got one. You do your. Well, maybe we'll have two challenges. Do it. Go right ahead.
Well, my challenge was obviously to check out ChopLocal, whether you have meat to sell or you're looking to buy meat. But the bonus challenge and the real challenge was 515-207-9640 or farmforprofitllc@gmail.com. I want lamb gyro patties, Wagyu beef chips, beef bacon, and marinated tenderloins.
Oh, he's challenging our listeners
And-
to send us
and
stuff.
you
What a
send
great
us-
challenge.
And you send us that, and we will send you a bunch of Farm for Profit swag.
That's right.
When we do our next run of swag, which we will here soon. Yeah, and you don't have to send us all those. You could just send us one.
No, they do need to send all of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, each if you send us one package, we'll send you a hat or something
West
like that.
40, we'll go pick it up.
And then we'll cook it when we're doing a fun show sometime, and we'll have it and try it. I think that'd be sweet.
What a challenge. Because all I was going to do is repurpose what Jared said is I dare you to come to the website hungry
Oh yeah,
and leave empty.
yeah.
Dare it. I don't think it's possible.
Nope.
Jared, this has been a pleasure. We appreciate you hanging out with us. I know our listeners are going to be cruising your website, so thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me.
What a great show, listeners. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, have a good one.